Hey guys, welcome to Philly Close Up. When stars come to Philly, we get you close up. And today we are here with Ray Fisher, and we are talking all things Justice League. Hi, Ray.
Hello. How you doing, Kharisma?
I'm doing well. This is like super exciting. Super exciting. We've been waiting for this movie forever.
Me too. I've been a fan of all this since I was a kid. Growing up, jumping off the porch, pretending like I was Batman, Superman, the whole crew,
What'd
with a
you
tie
use for
tied
the
around my
tape?
neck.
I was gonna say, what was the
towel,
tape? Okay.
towel, or a dirty bed sheet.
Whichever one works.
Whichever one I could get my hands on. So I mean, to be able to stand up here and look at this and see my face, or at least 3/4 of my face. Up here with these Titans it's an amazing feeling. And to be back here in my theater that I grew up in, watching all these movies and things, like it's an amazing feeling.
I can imagine. So when did the Borg life journey begin for you? How did this whole process start?
Well, back in 2013, I played Muhammad Ali in a boxing play in New York at the New York Theater Workshop. And from there, I got an agent and manager and took my trip out to LA, where I started meeting with the casting folks, and I actually met up with some of the folks from Warner Brothers in DC.
Nice.
And they said, well, listen, we have something that may be right for you. We can't tell you what it is just yet, but it's in the Batman, Superman realm of things. And that's when I was like, you know what? I don't even care. I don't care what it is.
Did you keep your composure at that point?
At that point, yeah, because
Okay.
everything is just talk until it's not.
Until it's not.
So I kept my composure up until the point where I get the call from our director, Zack Snyder, and he says, Ray. And I go, Zack. He goes, looks like we're gonna be making a movie. And that's when I freak out and geek out big time. I told him, I was like, listen, you don't understand what this means. I watch Batman Returns every Christmas. Like, this is the stuff I loved as a kid. I'm not gonna let you down, don't worry. Thank you for believing in me.
That's
and so,
amazing.
yeah, it was an amazing feeling. You know, it's like my childhood dreams, or my childhood, the people that I looked up to as a kid, and my adult aspirations, like, coming together.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
It
there's
was
no better
kismet.
feeling.
It had to happen.
Listen, I'm starting to feel that.
Yeah,
I'm starting to feel that.
For sure. How much did you know about Cyborg before you walked into this role?
I knew Cyborg from the Teen Titans cartoon show in the early 2000s. That was my
Yeah.
first interaction with him. But once Zack had brought the role up to me, that's when I started doing my research in the comic book version of him, which is a much different Cyborg,
Yes,
and
it is.
and one that I find I'm a little bit more able to connect to, because of, he's a very grounded and deep character.
Yeah,
and
he
for
is.
for an actor, that's some of the dream stuff to play.
Yeah.
But I've read just about everything from the new Teen Titans when he was created back in 1980, all the way up through when Cyborg is introduced as a founding member of the Justice League in the New 52.
Wow.
So you get to pick bits and pieces of the character and and accentuate those as needed to help with the story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing about playing Cyborg is that you have the fun of being a dual character, because it's the Victor Stone part and then it's the Cyborg part. So we get a little bit of backstory before you become superhero.
Yeah, well, the beautiful thing about it, and this is the thing that separates Cyborg from the other members of the crew, is that he's the only member that can't take his costume off.
Yeah.
He's Cyborg 24/7. So that ends up creating a lot of issues for him psychologically and mentally, because he can't go live a normal life. He can't do the same thing that these other folks can. He can't go retire one day. He is who he is.
Yeah.
And back when he was created in the 1980s, they were talking about some very politically and socially charged things in DC Comics.
they were.
So, it was all a sort of metaphor for not only his experience as being half man, half machine, but him also being a black man.
Yeah.
And, they went very deep back then, so it was a pleasure to sort of dig through a lot of that and figure out what it means for him to be human.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And speaking of that, you being a black character, we're kind of on this path where we're seeing more representation and more diversity out there. And Cyborg works on multiple levels.
Yeah.
As a black character and also as someone who has cybernetics and things that
Absolutely.
are connected to
And he works as a character who is also differently abled.
Yes.
In that he's an amputee, and so that when you have a character who represents so many underserved groups, particularly with cinema, you want to make sure that you're doing the character justice. You want to make sure that it's not something that's coming off as stereotypical and something that's coming off as offensive or insensitive. And luckily with Zack Snyder, our director, and Chris Terrell, our writer, they were so specific and so conscious of those things going into it, because these characters need to be reflective of the world in which we live. I feel like they need to be as complicated as the people that live in this world.
Yeah,
It's real life,
yeah.
and we know it's complicated. It's not just as easy as punch the bad guy until the bad guy goes away. That doesn't happen in real life,
No,
right?
it
So
doesn't.
we kind of have to, our superheroes have to evolve in the same way that our world is evolving. Otherwise, they become irrelevant.
Okay.
Yeah.
How cool was it working with Superman, Batman, The Flash, Aquaman, Wonder Woman? I mean, like, that's...
It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. But I will say, like, once you spend enough time where everybody's just hanging out, sitting around in their costumes, it starts to wear off. The allure starts to wear off after a while. When you see, when you see Batman and he's just in half costume, he's sitting in the Batmobile and he's got no bat pants on. He's wearing basketball shorts underneath.
No bat pants.
Exactly. Like it's like little things like that that are really, really funny, but also just ground the character in a way. And you realize you're just having fun. I get to be an adult playing a superhero.
Yeah,
I get to be
cool.
that same little kid that I was at 8 years old. So, but my fellow actors, just in general, they were some of the kindest people that I could have been blessed to step on set with. And a lot of that trickles down from our director, Zack Snyder. The way that he and his wife Debbie run their sets, you just feel like. You just feel like it's a fluid conversation. You feel part of a collaborative process. You feel like, for me, I felt like there was no question that was too dumb, and there was no. This is my first go at a superhero film, right, or a film in general, particularly of this magnitude.
No big deal.
So the idea that. I can walk onto the scene and I feel like people are treating me with the same level of respect as these other actors who have been in the game for so long. I mean, it was just a testament to how they run their sets and the way they make you feel like family.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I need you to do something for me before we leave.
Okay, go ahead. It depends on what we're talking about here. Go ahead.
Well,
almost knocked over the Justice League.
Don't
Hold on,
knock
wait, no! I'm losing them. No, I think we're good.
I think they're
okay.
good.
Well, they on the Justice League's on the Justice Lean right now. Don't worry.
Lean with it, rock with it. Sometimes you gotta go with the flow.
Just stay right there. All right.
Well, I need you to show me the Borg life symbol because I was trying to figure it out and I felt really silly.
That's okay. You know what? Each one to each one. There we go.
Okay.
So what you want to do is you want to take your right hand.
Okay, right hand.
And you want to make sure that everything's A-okay, like this right here. You want to make sure that your fingers are adjacent, otherwise you don't want crooked B's.
No
there you
crooked
go.
B's.
All right, and you take your left hand, you face your palm towards you, and you put these 3 fingers down, and you just tap one on top of the other.
What?
And you are there. And you look through your cybernetic eye, you say, Borg life.
Borg life? Well,
There-
thank you so
there we
much for
go.
taking the time
Thank you,
to
Kharisma.
join us.
Thank you,
Seriously,
thank you.
I cannot wait to see this movie, and you guys need to see this movie. It's in theaters nationwide.
At least
November
4 times.
17th. Yes, at least 4 times. Well, that's all the time we have on My New Philly, where something is always new.
And everything's always Philly.
Borg life.
Borg life.